Oh,
Hello, my name is Richard Lyle. I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of reparations. Um, you ever pictured the thought of a multitude of barefooted Native Americans trudging toward Oklahoma to the reservation? This actually happened by the government, forcibly. I'll explain the idea of reparations. It's not new, and why it's necessary for the healing of our nation. Many times there's sticky situations. You know, we see police brutality on unarmed black men. It's time to ponder the Bill of Rights. In this melting pot of freedom and democracy, some of these people's forefathers weren't dealt the same cards of fairness. Throughout our nation's history, people of color have been marginalized, disrespected, swindled, and met with violence. Examples include mistreatment of Native Americans since 1942, abuse of African slaves 1492 also, the Japanese American internment during World War II. Native Americans were even exploited by their land in the 1800s, the sugar plantations. And the Tuskegee experiment of 1932 through 72. The ugliness of racism within our country has been countered with some measures of reparations. Examples, 40 acres and a mule. This was proposed by Lincoln. He gave the freed slaves rice farms along the coast in 1865, but after he died, they took it all back, gave it back to the slave owners. The Hawaiian Home Commission Act gave people land leases of 99 years for $1, as long as they were half Hawaiian blood. This was in 1920. And a formal apology was made in 1993. The Indian Claims Commission of 46 was given by Harry Truman a settlement of $1.3 billion, dealt over to 176 tribes. Averaging about 1,000 each. Tuskegee experiment of syphilis research was uncovered by reporters in '73. There was a $10 million settlement awarded to the families, or the men and their families, and for funeral services and health care. An apology was made by President Clinton in 1997. The Civil Liberties Act of 1980 was crafted by Congressman Mineta. It was signed by President Reagan. Gave the Japanese survivors of the Japanese internment $20,000 each. President Obama endorsed the settlement of Native American lawsuit against the government. $492 million was paid to 17 American Indian tribes for maladministration of tribal properties. The H.R. 40 was proposed in the House of Representatives in 1989 to consider reparations. I've shown that good intentions were made towards reparations for certain ethnicities, but African Americans were left out, unfortunately. Can we all agree that payments to help neutralize the effects of slavery on the descendants of the oppressed might be a good idea? Making amends won't be cheap or easy, but if we keep sweeping it under the rug, then social unrest will continue. Inequalities at stake. We need to level the playing field. Some cities like Providence and Asheville have endorsed reparations, and of course the House recertified the bill that was H.R. 40. So much progress ideals have been created in the past 20 years. Yet pushback has come in the form of court decisions and public opinions. The examples would be Deidre Farm Paleman. She sued a bunch of companies, including CSX Railroad and Aetna. She used logic that the businesses profited from slave labor. Since she was a descendant of slaves, then that would include her, but it was thrown out. And approval for reparations aren't supported by the majority, only 37%. Could be pushback reasons, could be high costs, 17 billion to near 15 million, trillion, was figured by attorneys, reformers, and educationalists. Who's going to pay for it? Government, big business, or rich farmers tied to the slave trade? It may be hard to prove slave lineage. So progress and pushback have been discussed. But money's not the only solution. Ideas could be land or housing grants, educational grants, free child care, criminal justice reform, including police accountability. Potential funding could be elevated taxes for the wealthy, and Wall Street investments. Southern states that embrace slavery could be penalized. So a history of reparations, idea for reparations, funding, pushback, and why it's not fully accepted has been presented. The lynching of black men and the genocide of Native Americans should be a reason enough to subscribe to the goal of reparations. Petition the governor to make the case for change, and be busy in peaceful protest in the manner of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Last thought. Try looking through the eyes of someone else of opposite color and emphasize what they may feel. My sources for this has been The 40 Acres and a Mule, How the First Reparations for Slavery Ended in Betrayal, Deneen L. Brown, The Washington Post, April 15, 2021, online. 6 questions about slavery reparations answered, Brianna Hare and Doug Chris, CNN, updated August 15, 2020, online. The American Challenge, A New History of the United States, Volume 1, 5th edition, Phillips, Allen, Ward, Lannon, and Cantrell, 2019. The Thorny History of Reparations in the United States, Aaron Blakemore, History Channel, updated August 29, 2019, online. U.S. government to pay $492 million to 17 American Indian tribes, Rebecca Hersher, The Two-Way, NPR, online, and it was dated September 27, 2016. And thank you guys for listening.